segueing with entertainment industry. So I think last week we were talking about some of the top grossing films last year, which is kind of ironic that Bad Boys for Life was top grossing for 2020, right? But obviously, big movie companies or movie studios are trying to find ways how to release films that would be successful, that would generate them not just millions, hundreds of millions, or even billions of dollars here. And in this article, according to CNBC, here are some of the highest grossing film franchises of all time. So I'm sure those big franchises or movie studios are going to capitalize on this. Now, whether it's going to be successful, it's a totally different discussion altogether here. Anyway, let's take a closer look here. There you go. So as mentioned here, so this pertains to global box office. So it's not just in the United States, but considering international box office here. So can you guess what's the highest grossing franchise of all time? So let's take a closer look here. So at number 13, you have Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, obviously, there has been some speculation, right? Actually, I think it was mentioned that, Jack Sparrow or Mr. Johnny Depp here, who pioneered or made it popular, the franchise, this franchise was removed, right? And they're going to make a reboot, and it's going to be a female-led star of sorts. I don't know if that's going to do well, and if you're going to bet on something, wouldn't you bet on someone who's already been tested already, despite all the personal issue that Mr. Depp has been going through this past few months and last year? Anyway, will it succeed? Time will only tell. Anyway, excuse me. So let's take a closer look. And so number 12, you have Transformers here. Now, obviously, excuse me, it's a very popular series based on animation. Now, I only watched the first two with Shia LaBeouf there. I think the third one as well. But for the latter part, not so, enticed anymore. I think they need to reboot the whole franchise already. Or restart the stories here. And obviously, Batman is a very popular franchise. All the way back from Michael Keaton, all the way to Robert Pattinson, right? So hopefully Robert Pattinson can do justice to the previous iterations of the Batman franchise here. So let's see who else. Jurassic Park is one of the most popular franchise, right? I think the first one was the best one, in my opinion. The latter part with, what do you call this? Sorry. The one with Chris Pratt. I like the CG part, but the story-wise, it doesn't compare with the one with the original one. But people still watch it, then good for them. Then you have the DC EU films, which garnered almost 6 billion at number 9. And then you have Middle Earth. Now, I hope they don't try to push and create a new, what do you call this? A reboot of sorts, because it's going to be a difficult, daunting task to replicate the success here. And I think they should wait another 50 years before they even consider rebooting the franchise. Anyway, maybe they could do a prequel, which they already did. How about a continuation of sorts with new cast of characters? I was surprised that the Fast and Furious franchise was at number 7 here. Then you have X-Men. Yeah, X-Men did well. It ebbs and flows from the first one all the way to the last part. I think I like the Wolverine character's storyline there with the Logan. I think the latest iteration of the X-Men with what do you call it? What's the name of that character? Not the one with what's his name? I forgot the name. Sorry. The younger version of the X-Men here. Yeah. And then you have the Spider-Man at number 5. And I think the franchise for Tom Holland, they're planned to release a third one, the third in their series. I don't know if it's going to have a crossover with other Marvel characters there. So I'm looking forward to that. One of my favorite franchises, James Bond. So I was looking forward last year to watch the release of No Time to Die, which is going to be the uh, last film that is starred by Daniel Craig. So I'm curious to see who's going to replace him. I think there were mentions that it's going to be a female Bond next time, which I can't imagine. We have to wait to see if it would work. Then number three, obviously Harry Potter. Now, obviously, the Harry Potter franchise, all seven films already did really well, and then they tried to extend it with the Fantastic Beasts, right? But again, there was an issue of the second movie. The character Grindelwald, who was played by Johnny Depp again, I think he was removed already. So who's going to replace him? It's going to be a tall older there. But I think as mentioned, I think I mentioned this last week. There were reports that they were discussing in terms of creating a TV series for Harry Potter. I can imagine a weekly series of Harry Potter. Maybe a different character, but in a wizarding world. Maybe that would work. So we have to wait and see. Anyway, then number two is Star Wars. Obviously, there have been three trilogies already released. Obviously, the first one was the best one. The second was Then the third one with, without the direction of George Lucas here, did so and so. But thankfully for Disney, the company, the TV series Mandalorian is doing really well. So that's salvaging what happened with the last trilogy here. Now, will they create another trilogy in the next few years? I can't imagine. But it is the business of making money, so it's incumbent upon them to capitalize on the popularity and the continuing popularity of Star Wars. And the number one franchise is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which obviously has created several films, several characters, from Iron Man all the way to, I think they're going to release a new character later this year, is Shang-Chi, which I haven't heard. I only found out when they were announcing the film releases for the next batch after Avengers Endgame here. Now, obviously, it will be at a certain point, it will be too, I don't know, diluted in a sense, or people will get fed up. Too many Marvel superhero films from both DC and Marvel Universe here now. Would people still watch it? I'm sure they would still, but the question is, when will that happen? Will it be this year, next year, or the year after that? Only time can tell. I'm sure Marvel is planning ahead in terms of what films to release, and I think one of their main problem is how are they going to continue the franchise for the Black Panther, which was highly successful with what do you call this? Who the main star Chadwick Boseman, who recently passed away last year. So sad to hear from that. But who are they going to replace it with? It's going to be a difficult and tall order, right? So people could relate to and could visualize that he is the king of Wakanda, something like that. Anyway,